I'm more struggling with trust. Who creates a trustee and how does it work?
Sure. Okay, so trustee depends. So trustees, for example, this happens sometimes when you have like a wealthy individual, right? So let's say they have several rental properties and stuff. So then they may have a trust where trustee is anybody who manages the trust. So the trust is where basically, so for example, we are going through estate planning process right now, and we are trying to set up a trust, and that trust will include our assets, our rental properties, and then we are going to basically pass that trust on to our children. All right, so that's the process. So that's one type of trust. Then there can be where somebody has different businesses and that can be in a trust, or somebody has a rental portfolio that can be in a trust. So trust is basically just the way things are structured, where it's a portfolio of something. And so then if there is a trust created, then there will be somebody who takes care of those rental portfolio properties, right? So that person is known as the trustee. So the trustee does not have to be related to the person whose trust it is. So let's say we give it to somebody else to manage, then they will become the trustee. All right, so that's a trustee. Executor is when somebody has died, right? So trust, the person is not dead. They're just somebody else is taking care of that trust for them. But executor comes into play when somebody has died. And now executor is the person who is responsible for distributing that person's assets as per their will. So executor could be somebody in the family, executor could be a lawyer, it could be a family friend. So it could be anybody, but executor is basically the person who's responsible for distributing the assets as per the person's will. So they're just different, right? Circumstances are different, but both, if trustee is managing properties under a trust, that trustee has to be registered on the title. Same thing with an executor. So if somebody has passed away, then the property will get transferred into the executor's name, so the executor can then sell the property, and then they can distribute the money from the sale of that property to whoever is supposed to go to.
So executor is decide before the death or the
Absolutely.
court.
It will be named in the will. So the will tell you who the executor is.
If there is no name in the will, then
No, there will be a name in the will. Like if there's a will, there will be an executor. But if there's no will, then the property will go through probate. The whole estate will go through probate. Basically, then the court will distribute the assets equally amongst the surviving. So let's say there's couple, right? Man and a woman, guy dies, husband dies, wife, and the children will get equal amounts of property if there's no will, right? But if there's a will, then the husband may say, all the property goes to my wife, right? So then the wife gets all the property. And then when wife passes away, she can give the property to children or whatever, right? So when there's a will, the person whose property it is gets to decide who gets the property. But when somebody dies without a will, and then their estate will be distributed by the court. And the court tends to just equally divide it amongst the surviving heirs.
and in trustee when the person passed away, so what will happen with the trustee and the trust?
Oh, trust has nothing to do with the person passing away. Trust is separate, entire separate thing. The executor has to do with the passing away of the person. Trust usually is set up in a way where basically it survives the people, right? So it's just a legal structure that's set up. So it doesn't have it's not, yeah. So for example, if we pass away, the trust is in the kid's name, the kids will still get it. So it doesn't
Okay.
really affect it. Like it's the executor is the one that comes into play when person dies.
So if somebody's managing somebody's investment and then a couple will pass away, so then there he will manage for the kids, the same
Correct.
person.
Same
Okay,
person, right? So that structure stays the same. Yeah.
okay, okay. Thank you.